Here we are with Heather Atwood, and she's got nice color in her cheeks. She got her run in this morning.
I always get my run in.
She always gets her run in. And Heather has been taken over basically the food section in the Gloucester Times. Every time you open the, what is it, Wednesdays?
Wednesdays.
Every Wednesday.
Not intentionally did I take it over.
Not intentionally.
Stumbled into it.
You stumbled into
Yes,
the food
yes,
thing.
right.
Well, you stumbled kind of head first. Speaking with some of the people from the Times, they said that it doesn't normally happen this way, that someone comes to them and they get hired immediately, but what the pieces that you brought to them as your examples of what stuff that you have done, you kind of blew them away, and it was
Ooh.
like, yeah, you didn't know this,
I
did
didn't
I?
know that.
I told you I was going to save something.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, okay, I got you.
You're so happy today.
Yes, and yeah. So
Thank you.
So there you go. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he said that you brought great credentials, and the pieces that you brought as representative pieces were great, and all the stuff that I've seen that you've done has been fantastic.
Well, thank you very much. That I am highly honored.
Okay, enough with all that.
Okay.
All right.
Not the bad part, right?
No, there's no bad parts.
Okay.
We don't do bad parts.
Oh, good.
So now tell me what it is. Tell me your background and how you're not originally from Gloucester. And why don't you tell me your background and how it came to be that you're doing the food thing?
Okay. So many years ago, I worked in very good restaurants in Boston. I worked at Jasper's, which is now gone, but he has Skipjack's, I think it's called.
Jasper White, right?
Yeah, Jasper White.
The Summer Shack too.
That's
think.
it. Yeah, not Skipjack's.
Yeah,
Get that out of there. Okay, Summer Shack.
Yeah.
Okay, and I worked at Hammersley's Bistro.
Oh.
So I was around really good food. I was around people who knew really good food, and ever since then, I've been kind of, if not trying to make good food, being around people who really enjoyed food.
Mm-hmm.
So food is something that happens in my house and amongst my friends all the time. And so put that over to the side. At the same time, I was trying to write novels, fiction. And I was working pretty hard at it for the past few years, and I got kind of far, but not far enough. So last fall, I thought, I'm so sick of being turned down for my fiction. Maybe I could write something else. And somebody mentioned, I went to a reading by Anita Diamant. Some people say Diamond. She's a Gloucester woman. She wrote The Red Tent.
Yeah.
And she mentioned M.F.K. Fisher. Do you know who M.F.K. Fisher is?
No.
Sorry. Okay, she's dead.
I know the Diamante, the woman from the
Red Tent.
The Red Tent. My
Right.
wife read the book. And
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, M.F.K. Fisher was an essayist, and she wrote essays with a recipe, one recipe. And the essays were about food, but they were also about her friends and about life and traveling. And I thought, I could write that story. I could do that. So I called the Gloucester Times, and I wrote one little essay about French sablé cookies. And I met Scott Pitlick, and I handed him my column, and I said, what do you think? And I guess he liked it. You just told me that
He was the guy.
it.
Yeah, he was the guy that would say nice things about you.
Yeah. So that's why it was really being rejected too many times for my fiction, and having been around food so much, and I thought, there's so many good stories associated with food.
And you had a passion for it to begin with.
I did, yeah.
So when you have a passion for something, and then you can put that together, and it shines through.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And then when you can make a life out of that,
it's great, isn't it?
Is there anything better?
There's nothing better,
Nothing
really.
better than that.
So I love this column. I love doing it every week. I love all the people I meet. I meet so many wonderful people. And
My sister.
Your sister is fabulous.
There you go, right?
And her passion shines through.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Completely.
She's one of those people, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that I've noticed, too, that your food, would you consider yourself a foodie?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is what I was going to say was, you're a foodie without the snobbish part of being the foodie.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because who wants that?
No, and what I'm really
Because then you can't really relate to the masses. You don't want to be that person.
What it's really about for me, maybe I'm a foodie, but it's really about the stories. Really, truly. That's what I love. And every single person you meet on the face of the earth will have a story about food. And the story isn't, they'll say, oh, I have a great recipe, or, well, let's just start with a great recipe. That great recipe usually came from somebody, or from a trip they were on. There's usually something else about that recipe that is really the story behind it. So it's about people, you know? And that's what I really love.
Yeah.
So, plus everybody loves finding a good recipe, and I love finding a recipe that really works, that people can. It just changes their life a little tiny bit, because that can happen.
Yeah.
With a good recipe. You know?
And then they pass it down for generations, and it becomes a part of their weekly or their rotation of meals.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's not actually. I did write a column about that. How there's not an awful lot that we do pass on from generation to generation anymore, but we do pass on recipes.
Yeah.
And they really do carry through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's amazing. So now, where do you see this whole thing? Are the changes coming to the times? The video part has the taste of the times. Are you involved with that at all with Joe and Gianni?
Well, I'm making some videos with them.
Yeah.
Yes, where I stand next to someone who knows what they're doing, and I ask them questions, because my role is to be the person who doesn't know how to do anything, and to ask questions. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
Right.
But I also try to sort of eke out a story from them too. That's my thing to do. But Joe wants me to just say, why, Heather? Why? Ask them why they're doing that.
Well, tell Joe, just listen, Joe. Joe's great. I love Joe.
He is. I love Joe too. Joe is wonderful. So, and I think that's a really exciting part of the Gloucester Times. So, and they're changing their website. So
that's coming up pretty soon.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I was talking to Scott last night. So, tell me this now. Do you live in Gloucester now?
I live in Rockport.
You live in Rockport,
Yeah.
a Cape Ann person.
Right.
What do you love about the area? Because you moved here from someplace else. What brought you? What part keeps you here and says, this is where I'm making a home?
Well, I love that there are real communities here. In both Rockport and Gloucester. There are old people, young people, babies, great-grandmothers. People work here. So it's not, neither Rockport or Gloucester are places that people like me move there, and only people like me move there, and have no connection other than that. You know, there are people who have real connections here. So it feels like a real town. You know, it feels like it's got all the parts of a real community.
Do you know how many people tell me that?
Do they?
So many people say that.
And all the people who moved here like me?
No, everybody. People that live here, people that don't live here, everybody says the same. You know, it's a recurring thing I hear all the time. And it's true. I mean,
because there are not many left.
That's true, yeah.
You name it, I mean...
Even if to here, if you drive 15 minutes away from here,
right,
it doesn't exist.
Manchester, you know, there are probably some grandmothers who have children in yeah.
Manchester's there's a lot of cool people in Manchester. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
But, well, I just use that as an example. Okay, my mother lives in Boxford. This doesn't get anywhere near Boxford, I'm sure.
Right.
There's nobody from Boxford living in Boxford, let me tell you that.
Oh, if people saw me spinning around in my chair right now, we don't have to worry about offending the Boxford contingency. No. Okay, there you go.
All right.
All right.
All done with that.
There you go. Well, thanks so much. So we can look for your columns every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, yes.
And
some videos.
And some videos.
But the column is...
That's your baby.
That's my baby, yeah.
All right.
Right.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you, Joe, for having me.